So the good news is that the sun is back, it stopped raining, and in just over an hour we'll have wonderful drinks out there. So let's get started. I know that before the break, we were discussing how we need to cut down the consumption of red meat to feed more than 9 billion people. Now we're going to talk about how we need to use fish more. Because Gigi Augeung from Vitargent, she's been studying and she's actually the Geneva International Exhibition of Innovation's Grand Prize winner for showing how we can use fish tissue to better discover more than 1,000 different toxic substances and thus keep the products that we use in our daily lives more safe and secure at a very low cost and a very high level of efficiency and accuracy. So please give a very warm hand to Gigi.
Thank you. So ensuring healthy lives, we are here to try to safeguard your daily consumptions, be it what you eat, what you drink, or what you put on the skin. So just a little hands raising. How many of you actually put moisturizer on your face this morning? Wow, even the guys, wow. And then how many of you drink water just now? I'm sure everybody. But have you ever wondered if it's safe to put on your face or drink like into your stomach? Thanks, Matthias. There have been a lot of scandals in Asia particularly, but it's actually a global problem. So first of all, plasticizers, parabens. I'm sure if you look at the back of the tubes of your lotions, you can see parabens. They are actually plasticizers. Second of all, milk powder. So in 2008, if any of you know, there are like 300,000 babies in China actually got affected because of the melamine polluted milk powder. Gutter oil in Taiwan just 3 years back. So people, like restaurants are reusing the oil again and again to cook your food, and eventually you find that there are a lot of toxic chemicals in the product that can cause cancer and even more. And most importantly, what we eat, what we put on our face, they will eventually drain to our ocean and pollute our oceans, the marine life, animals, the water, and then we're eating back the animals and drinking back the water. So the cycle keeps continue, and we are affected. What can be those chemicals? How are they harming our life? On top of like the pollutants, like maybe we'll get sick, we'll get diarrhea. More importantly, there are a lot of cases like infertility, early puberty of children, cancer, obesity are actually affected because of the endocrine disruptors or different kind of creative chemicals that exist in our products. Intersex visas and reduced diversities are also blaming human beings because of what we use, what we eat, what I drink into the ocean. Nowadays, a lot of animals, they got feminized. That's why they cannot reproduce, and then our biodiversity is getting like less and less. So what are the chemicals that actually surround us? I hope you guys are aware, but then most of the time when you look at the back of the ingredient list, you have no idea all those long chemical names, what are they actually do to us. Some of them help you to do antioxidants, help you to do whitening, but a lot of the time they are pesticides, vet drugs, hormones or phthalates that help to keep the product longer so they can sell longer, or help you to give a better effect on your face, but that actually harm your health. And like the worst could be endocrine disrupting chemicals that you are putting on your face every day. So those are things that we know, and I think what is more terrible is things that we do not know because there's so many unknown chemicals that are creating and being added to our everyday consumption products. So in the US EPA, they have already reported 100,000 of registered chemicals and substances, and they're saying that there are like 20% increase every year that manufacturer, creative scientists, they're making new chemicals and adding to their products to make it last longer or to make the effect better on us, but worse on the environment and on our health. So those chemicals that we know or the regulations that actually have a control on are actually just tip of the iceberg. So how do we know this chemical exists in our product? First of all, the most basic test would be by chemical testing. So what they do is like there are target chemicals A. We put a product in the machine will tell us how much the chemical A exists. We can quantify it. So it's not so expensive, it's quite fast, very sensitive and controlled, but it can just tell you about the amount of the chemical, but not actually reflecting how it would be like in a whole organism, in a biological bodies like human body or in an animal. So a higher tier of testing would be in vitro, meaning we use cells, we use tissues, subcellular components to test. So they are like a bit more advanced than chemical testings. So they get a lot more pricey, a little more time. But then still, it is not revealing the whole picture, like in vivo environment. By in vivo, it means living things, multicellular organisms. So the highest tiers of tests before humans will be in vivo, meaning we use animals to test, be it rats, mice, monkeys, or even dogs. So now we have an animal to tell us how it could be like a product coming to our body. But then it's normally very, very costly. So in one experiment with an animal, for example, in rats, it can take you 3 months and like some hundred thousands of experimental setup and also the maintenance of that animal. And I think most importantly is because of the ethical issue, because we're actually sacrificing the animal for our safety. What is worse is actually that the animal itself might not have a 100% correlation to a human, so we're actually sacrificing them without having a good picture or reflection of what it could be in a human. So animal rights issue is everywhere. It's a lot of companies are like stating themselves they are not tested on animals to gain actually public trust or customers' loyalty. Some countries actually ban animal testing as well, but in the US, it's still like 100 million of animals are sacrificing because we want to do science. So it's like we want to satisfy our curiosity on science, but we are sacrificing our fellow animals' existence. So we really feel the need of a novel testing methods that can be both like costing less time, less pricey, but then we have control, we have sensitivity, and still we can reflect what it's like in an in vivo environment. So looking into a lot of animal candidates, we realized that actually the eleuthero embryo, meaning the embryo that are actually hatch within 72 hours, they are actually not considered as a protected animal life stage. So this will be a good window to be used for animal testings or what we call in vivo testing. So these are actually the Vitagen solutions. We have two proprietary technologies on fishes. That's why we also call a fish company. First of all, it's a patented transgenic metacafish. Transgenic means we actually modify some of the gene in the fish so that when they encounter with some endocrine disruptors, there will be green fluorescence light up under the microscope. And then by quantifying the intensity of that fluorescence, we would know how much endocrine disruptors exist in that products. So this is like first of a kind of test that can actually reflect to us how endocrine disruptors go into living organisms and then go into the liver and then reflect to the humans. And the second technology, fish technology we have is using zebrafish embryo because they're actually very well studied in the pharmaceutical. There are ISO standards regarding using zebrafish to test water quality, and there are also OECD guidelines to use zebrafish to test the toxicity of chemicals. But then nobody has really applied this to a consumer products, everyday products they've been using. So by looking in the images here, you can see there are few endpoints that we are looking into. Rather the embryo get coagulate, meaning they're not even developed. The tail are not detached, and then there's no heartbeat. Then we consider the animals dead. And then by counting at what percentage, at what concentration of the chemicals the fish die, we can actually rank the chemicals according to the concentration. So it got a little different from what I prepared, but then what is special about fish is that first of all, there are obviously higher number of offspring compared to rats and mice because every week they have thousands or hundreds of fish eggs actually reproduced. So we have a lot more number of animals to do statistics, to do testings. Second of all, the genome similarity might be a surprise to you because zebrafish itself, be it vertebrates, they actually share 70% of genome similarity to humans. And then when it comes to the gene that are related to disease, 84% of similarity. So when you talk about rats, they're actually 69, 65%. So zebrafish surprisingly share more genome similarity with human than with the rats. So why are we sacrificing so many rats? They're expensive and time-costing animals experiments. So a day in a fish embryo actually symbolizes a month in a human. And then a fish can reach adulthood in 3 months. So by testing and doing experiment on fish, we actually can foresee and predict how you would like it for a human in months or in years. So it's much more relevant, much more reflective and efficient way to do such testing. So silverfish itself is very transparent and very well studied in the field of pharmaceutical. And then this is by using an in vivo environment. This is actually an effect based of toxicity screening, meaning that we're actually looking into how products go into the body and react to a toxic substance. Instead of when you put it into a machine, they tell you, okay, this there how much toxic chemical here, there potential, but we don't know the effect of it. So now we're actually looking in the effect, how it harms us, how it harms the environment, the marine lives. So the experiment setting is rather simple. So so there are a lot of fish tanks in our lab. By the way, we locate in Hong Kong Science Park. So when you come to Hong Kong, feel free to come to Science Park and visit us. And it's like a small ocean park because we have a lot of tanks of fish there that we're breeding. Adult fish gives eggs, and then we use the eggs to do the testings. So we have the eggs, and then we expose the test solutions to the fish. And then by using well plates, and then we have a well control, positive and negative control kind of exposure time for just a day or 2 days. And then we place the solutions and the fishes under a microscope for observation. So here, it might not be too clear, but then in that pictures, you can see there's some green fluorescence in the fish, and that's the liver of the fish, meaning they're actually endocrine disrupting toxicants. They swim into the liver of the fish, and then the fish react to it and give that green fluorescence. So by measuring how much green fluorescence there, we know how many endocrine disruptors are in the products. And down here, you can see silverfish, which reflect the overall biotoxicity to us. So the left-hand side to you will be the healthy fish that you can see the very nice shape of it, the heart, the vertebrates, very strict body. But in here, when the fish are actually exposed to gutter oil, meaning the recycled reused oil, you can see how they deform, how bad they are developed as an embryo. So afterwards, after getting the statistics, the measurements, the intensity, we calculate the EEQ and also modeling the LC50. So EEQ, it means the equivalent estrogenic concentration. And LC50 is like the lethal concentration that makes half of the fish die. So what we're focusing is really products that you're using every single day. Cooking oil that you use for preparing your food for the family, you eat food in the restaurants, cosmetic and skincare. Now I know that even gentlemen use a lot of skincare. So there are a lot of new ingredients are adding to the skincare products. So every day you listen to the commercials, you see the advertisement, they are saying that, okay, now we have this patent, new ingredients, they will help you to bring you from 40 years old to 20 years old. So all these chemicals, you have to be alert because you don't know what it has, the effects for your health and also for the environmental health. So very importantly, we test environmental sample, water sample, because if the environment is not healthy, the food they plant from there, the drinks that we make from water, so these are all that going into back our body and we're gonna suffer. So the environment samples are what is really important to test. And also food and beverage, because we consume it every day, we have 3 choices a day. So meats, dairy products, seafood, and also like different kind of beverage or even supplements. So when clients come to us, like all sort of F&B clients come to us, we will help them to do the testing and evaluate their products. So our vision, Vitagen. So a little story about Vitagen. The name of it, it might be quite new to you. So Vita is a Latin, it means life. And argent, it means silver. So back in the ancient China, the emperor, when they're going out to eat food, or even in their palace, so the officials, the people that were really close to him, we use a silver needle to poke into the food, and then see if it turns back. It means that there may be poison. The food may be having toxicants. So that's why we call ourselves like the silver life, because we are now being that needle to test your food, to test what you drink, what you put on your skin, to make sure that you are healthy, like the king. So our vision is safer products, better wealth. Because we are consuming products, we are manufacturing and producing products. If the products are not safe, the products are not healthy, the world will not be healthy and safe as well. So they are like totally 100% correlated. Our goal is to build biotoxicity profile for almost every food and skincare products around the world. Different brands from different manufacturing origins, different target users. We want to build a whole profile, comprehensive profile name it as big data, so that we know like how brands, how manufacturers are doing their job, whether they're responsible to the environment, to the customers or not. And then our strategy is actually to help business to improve their product safety. So the three aims that we are trying to do here, first of all, by being more responsible, by having more safe products, we're actually helping the companies to avoid reputational or financial risk. So I mentioned about the gutter oil in Taiwan, right, in 2013. So actually one of the listed company, the CEO got put down because of that scandal of using gutter oil, reuse and recycle oil to cook their food. A lot of customers actually suffered, and then the listed company, the stock price dropped, and then the CEOs got fired. So this is actually a reputational and financial risk to companies. So we are not just talking about making profit. If you're not being responsible to the environment and to your client, you're actually taking financial risk. And second of all, to gain public trust, because nowadays consumer, they are willing to pay more actually for better products, for products that are more environmental safety, for products that are like more safe for their families. So we want to have companies who are responsible to gain public trust. And third of all will be staying ahead of regulation. So I've mentioned that nowadays chemical testing, they only test a few regulated or limited parameters. But then a new regulation will be going on and adding up because of a lot of scandals and because basically the needs are not satisfied with the citizens. So regulation will be pushing the safety bar higher, and we want to help the brands to be prepared for that regulation rise so that they can be more proactively monitor their products. So how we do that, we have three services we provide. First of all, laboratory testing. So send products, send samples to us, we test it, we give consultation advices to you to help you improve your products. Secondly, will be company will license our technology to become their in-house quality control measures. So they may put our fishes in a different checkpoints along the supply chain, like from raw material to the manufacturer, adding different composition to the formulation, packaging. So they actually add us as a checkpoints at different points along the supply chain, so they know exactly what is having problem, which process is actually adding more consequence or endocrine disrupting chemicals into their products. And then the third service we give to it will be certification. So very straightforward. If you pass our test, if you're responsible, if you're being a good boy, you get a stamp, you get a certification, and then you can do marketing. You can tell your clients that, hi, we are better than competitors. We are more responsible for you, for your health and the environment. So come buy our products, or come pay more for our products. So this actually helps the company itself to boost their sales and to gain the guideline as well. So here I generally, like what I've said, like throughout the whole supply chain, we can help brands and manufacturers to do a better quality control, to give safer products at the end. So individual ingredients, you can send us your existing, or if you're like having a new ingredient that you just got a patent, you want to add it to your products, you're not sure if adding it will give a negative effects of the safety of the products, you can bring it to us and we can test it. And then I talk about the mixture effects, because sometimes one chemicals exist, they're okay. They exist, chemical B alone is okay, but when they add it together, A plus B, normally the toxicity can be like higher. So this is called a mixture effect because they're chemical reaction between the chemicals. So we need to know it. So nowadays the chemical acids that we use, we just tell you single chemicals, how much are they, how they affect individually. But now we're looking at the product. A product is a complex matrix that go into our body and it will react with our body tissues and cells. So we want to look into the mixture effects. And then very interesting because I know in Silicon Valley and in Sweden talk about packaging, because packaging play a big role in products. So sometimes when you add in packaging, the plasticizers or the packaging material can actually diffuse in your products and it change the product properties or the toxicity profile. So you never know, because normally you just test the product as is before the packaging. So sometimes clients come to us and tell us, so now we have package A and package B. We want to know which package is actually safer to our consumer. So we can test, like after putting the product in the 2 tubes for a month, and we can take the products out and test how they're performing under the fish testings. And then, so our clients could be brands, could be manufacturers, inspection and quarantine bureau. Some government sectors or government bodies come to us as well to be a more responsible government. And then testing laboratory work with us. Sometimes they try to add our technology onto their framework so that they can offer more to the consumers. And also university, we have a lot of projects with the university testing and also doing R&D to advance the technology that we're using. So, talking about research breakthrough and bringing science to business, we realized that if you want to bring business, especially science from the university to a business field, you have to get a lot of accreditation and credibility, because sometimes people think that, okay, just stay back in your lab, do your research, you publish your paper, you get your professor tenure, but you're not doing business. But now with a business mind, business-driven scientist, we believe that we have to bring the science into a business so that we can benefit more people. We can make it more accessible to consumers, to the public. So our strategy is first of all make ourselves credible, because now we are doing a credibility, we are doing certification for products. So ourselves have to be credible at first place. So we have been the first and only ISO 17025 accredited laboratory in Asia to provide this kind of in vivo testing screening methods. Actually, we are among the first in the world as well. We are among the first group to use this technology actually on the consumer products, because a lot of groups have been using the fish embryo testing, toxicity testing methodologies on drugs, on pharmaceuticals, on higher tier of consumer products, but not a daily products that we are using and having an impact on us and on the environment on a daily basis. So we are among the first group to apply this on a consumer F&B or skin products, and we have been having years of experience doing literature review, building a database. We're trying to accumulate really big data to do analysis to know what is happening around the world, around the products, the brands, and also validation since 2011. So our company is 5 years old, but then the research has been going on for 9 years. We actually brought this technology from a university licensing, because our CTO was a PhD student in university developing this technology. So we are one of the showcases in Hong Kong that succeed in bringing university research into a business field. And then, as I said, we are stationed in the Hong Kong Science Park, very nice, like the American Village here. And then we have been very glad to have been recognized with a lot of global awards and also media coverage. So just now Matthias mentioned about the Geneva invention, which is we really honor, we have a European recognition of this, of our technology. And then also being covered in some very well-known journalists. The good thing about this is we want to educate people. We are not want to promote our company, but we want to educate people how serious the problem is, not just to us, but to our children, to our future generation, and to the earth, to the planet. So by having more media coverage, more collaboration, more international connections, like being here in the summit, we're actually educating people and having more people to join hands to achieve this mission. So we're very honored to have a good scientific advisory board. I think that's very important as well for any of you who have startups in biotech or in food safety tech, because you have to get credibility. We find really hard time in the very beginning of the business, because people think that, okay, you're just university research, so you're just publishing paper, you're not doing things in a big scale, international scale of scientific credibility. So we managed to talk to a lot of professors and get their support to help us to, first of all, validate our methods and also help us to advance the technology. And the leadership team of our company, having a really broad education background, working experience, and also from different part of the world. So I would like to mention Jimmy. Jimmy is the CEO. He's also with us actually in the summit, but he's now in another workshop. So he's a graduate from Cambridge. He's also a serial entrepreneur. So at some point he feels that he really wants to do something. He really wants to build a business that have a global impact. An impact that is influencing everybody's life. So that's why he co-founded this company to want to achieve a better world, a better mankind. And then CTO, Dr. Sheping Chen, she's the one who had a PhD in the university, brought this technology up, and eventually very brave of her to bring this into a business setting. And then we have a lot of international collaboration projects. So some of them, the names will be quite familiar with you. Lund University, we actually work with Professor Peter restaurant. Sandy, his students also gave a very good talk on water earlier today. So we are very honored to, very pleasure to have a lot of good, meaningful collaboration with different parts of the world. And then KU Leuven, they're also doing a lot of zebrafish testing. They're very interested in having our fish on board so that they can like increase their lab capacity. And then even MIT, Yale University, they're doing a lot of co-investigation with us. So with all this support, all these helping hands, we are actually bringing this platform, this technology into a higher scale to let more people know, to make sure that we are having an impact. We know that getting legislation or regulation enforced for technology is really difficult. Earlier in a workshop, like a few thought leaders, we have been talking about like we have good technologies, we win awards, we got media coverage, but the government is not really supporting, or it takes a long time for the industry to adopt the new technologies. So it's gonna be a tough battle, we all know, but then I think among all ourselves who are like-minded, who want to do something, I really hope to see like more collaboration, more meaningful connections that can be fostered, especially for Summit, for later on if we talk in private, we can really consolidate some collaboration so that we can do impactful things, especially like when we are like an Asian technology coming to Europe, we really need connections to have us to bridge to the clients, the industry, the regulations, the authorities. And similarly, when you have your good technologies, you want to come to Asia, want to come to China and Hong Kong, so stay in touch with us so that we can help and to make connection. I think this is really meaningful to bring different good technologies around the world. And then I want to also highlight Civitan. I'm sure, I think earlier there's a speaker who has a relationship with Civitan. So Civitan is a water supply company in Sweden. So they're actually sending their samples to us to test whether their water quality is actually up to standard, how safe they are. I mean, they're actually very, very confident. So they actually send the samples to us to get an endorsement, get it certified. But then a lot of governments or a lot of real estates, they are not so brave to face the fact. So they're trying to avoid us sometimes, but then we are trying to enforce that and push them to do the test with us. So one of the strategy we do is we work with local NGOs. So if any of you in the audience are NGOs, come talk to us, because sometimes the NGO can actually do a very good role in educating the public to adopt new technologies or to aware of the environmental problems. So in Hong Kong, we also work with a few very reputed NGOs to actually spread the words to let the consumer know that now you have to be aware what you're using and how our environments are actually being harmed because of what you've been using. And I think I speak a little fast, but then coming to an end, we want to again emphasize that we want to see a world with safer products, because safer products will give a better world. The last quote I want to say to you will be, we actually do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we're actually borrowing the earth from our children. So we have to do something right now, and right at the summit. So I welcome questions and like comments. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. So all of this from fish?
Yes, we are using fish, basically.
I would not have been guessing that if it wasn't because we were in this particular conference. Well, thank you so much for enlightening us about that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go on to the last session of the program.